Famous Outlaws' last words. It's not just Jesus Christ's last words ever got written in history. Most bandits and outlaws had a chance to say their last words before they died. In this video, we will discover who said the most humorous last words and who showed no regret at all. So hang on tight. This video is going to be fun. Jesse James. You might have heard how Jesse James died. One morning after breakfast on April 3, 1882, James stood in front of a picture hanging on the wall to fix it. The last words he said were, "That picture is awful dusty." Jesse James was killed by Bob Ford, who was a new recruit for the gang. Bob made an arrangement with the governor. Bob Ford was able to claim a reward of $10,000 from the governor. Wild Bill Longley. Bill Longley escaped his supposed first death when he was first hanged. He was caught traveling with a cattle thief. When he hanged and was dying, the lynching party fired several shots, and one of the shots nicked the rope strangling Bill. The rope snapped and set him free. They surely did not survive this time. In front of about 4,000 people, Longley said that he killed 8 men. His last word was, "I deserve this fate. It is a debt I owe for my wild, reckless life." He repented for his crimes for the minutes of his life. He urged everyone not to follow his wrongdoings. He nodded to the executioner as a signal. He was sent down to death by hanging. Tom O'Folliard. Tom O'Folliard was the best friend of the famous outlaw William Bonney, also known as Billy the Kid. He was shot by some members of Pat Garrett's posse right on his chest. He still survives around 45 more minutes and said his few last words. Go to hell, you long-legged son of a bitch." Billy the Kid. Sheriff Pat Garrett shoots Billy the Kid. He had been tracking Billy for 3 months after he escaped from prison 2 weeks before his supposed execution. He was still able to say the words before getting shot. "I'm not afraid to die like a man fighting, but I would not like to be killed like a dog unarmed. This kid is a brave one." Black Jack Ketchum. Ketchum became the first person hanged for notorious train robberies. It did not go the way it was planned. A 200-pound sandbag was not removed. The weight made the rope rigid, which caused decapitation. Ketchum's headless body landed on the ground. His head needed to be sewn back to his body before he was buried. Before this tragic death, he said these words, "Can't you hurry this up a bit? I hear they eat dinner in Hades at 12 sharp, and I don't aim to be late." He got a good sense of humor even before his last breath. Tom Horn. Tom Horn was sentenced to death by hanging for killing the 14-year-old son of a southern Wyoming sheep rancher. Before he was hanged to death, he said, "Killing men is my specialty. I look at it as a business proposition, and I think I have a corner on the market." He showed no regret for everything he did, even before he died. He made it clear that killing people gave him a good living. Deacon Jim Miller. Deacon Miller died by lynching along with 3 other prisoners. The mob attacked the jail and dragged them out. Before his execution, Miller shouted, "Let the record show I've killed 51 men. Let it rip." Henry Starr. Henry Starr was shot in the back by the former bank president while his gang went away, leaving him facing the consequence alone. He was brought to jail and the doc came to remove the bullet and treat him. He boastfully told the doctors how proud he was for setting a record. He said that, "I've robbed more banks than any man in America. I love it. The bandit life. It is wild with adventure." He died the next morning with his wife and son by his side. Agustin Chacon. Notorious Mexican bandit, was one of the funniest outlaws I've ever heard. Agustin Chacon has a lot of admirers. He knew that there must have been a few senoritas who came to watch him die. On the way up to the scaffold, he made a few stops to shake hands with random people, with a few hugs and kisses. He probably did this to show he did not regret anything he did. When he reached the top, he waved and smiled at his fans and told them, "Too late now. Got to go. Time to hang." You have just discovered different witty last words from the Outlaws. To watch the story behind Leper Addict's public execution,